I call it the San Pedro Shuffle. But,
do you have a website? Do you have?
Pardon?
Do you have a website?
Why?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But I do post on Peter's site.
dancehistory.org.
Okay.
It's just for the geeks, so it's a good one. Any more questions? I mean, yeah. I mean, this is the guy right here.
In the when you first start dancing Balboa, do they always have fast music,
No.
or they do have variety?
In fact, if anything, I think the Balboa dancers like a comfortable medium speed type of tempo. Now, when they were 14 years old, they wanted to dance as fast as they could. Fast music was what they wanted. It's not something that's really
Yeah, I guess what's the biggest difference, I suppose, today? I mean, we have.
it's not something that's really
Yeah, I guess what's the biggest difference, I suppose, today? I mean, we have dances too. The pavilion today, at least once a year, there's a dance at the pavilion, and you got to witness the pavilion when it, in fact, still had original Balboa dancers in it. When you looked across the floor, obviously, what's the difference between, let's say, 30 years ago and today?
Well, there's a couple of things, and this is sort of conflicting. I'm going to say one thing and then contradict myself in a way, but both of them is true. One of the things is there was more variety back then in the footwork, because what's being taught now is just from 3 or 4 dancers. Well, there were hundreds, and each one had their own individual style. So in some ways, there was more variety in the way that the partners would dance. But in some ways, there was more consistency. So most Balboa dancers I see today when I go to the Balboa events. By the way, Balboa is really taken on. You can go to a Balboa event once or twice a month somewhere in this world. Every month, it's got 1 or 2 Balboa events. But if any of those dancers, or most of those dancers, except some of the women, would come and dance at the pavilion, you'd stick out like a sore thumb. That doesn't really fit in. Even though they're doing the same dance, they aren't, quote, Balboa dancers. They're Lindy Hop dancers that have learned Balboa or something like that. And there's quite a difference. As it is temporary.
Well, have you seen it? I mean, I remember we've talked about this obviously because it goes back to the early, 2000, 2001. You were actually traveling to a lot more Balboa events, as it seems, than perhaps even I was, because of course I teach other vintage dances. But I recall, of course, that you would come back from another event and you'd say, Peter, I just got back from Balboa such and such festival, and they're still not doing Balboa. And this happened for year after year after year, and we giggle, about it, obviously. But you've obviously, and then as of this last year, I've been telling you, and kind of prodding you to speak up already. You're one of the few that knows the truth. And I've been trying to harping about this. We got to do some pure Balboa events.
But this is a good philosophical argument, and everybody's interested. This is Lindy Hop, all these dances are vintage dances, okay? They're done there. So the question is, do you keep it like it was then, don't change it, then it turns sort of like a museum piece, or do you change it to fit in with contemporary glories and stuff, to the point where it's not the same as the original? So there's some type of balance in between, and hopefully, top flight dancers like Peter and Mia that are interested in Balboa and really work with it, even you, unless you were thinking about it, you would stand out a little bit, not the smoothness, you'd fit in with that. I mean, with Balboa, it's sort of a split screen thing. You'd watch from the waist up, and everybody looks about the same. And then you watch the feet, and there's really quite a bit of difference. Peter's got some mystifying footwork that's unique to Peter. You'll go into that, I guess. But
Crip walk.
Crip walk.
Crip walk in my Balboa.
Peter's a creative dancer, so he's sort of a fusion thing. It's a philosophical issue. Do you want to be authentic, or do you want to be creative? I actually don't know the answer to that.